this week's edition of the Railsplitter Athletics Report. I'm your host, Adam Haley. We are inside the Tex Turner Arena. We are approaching the month of March, and as all basketball fans know, that brings along March Madness. The basketball season, if you can believe it or not, is coming to a close for both men's and women's basketball here for Lincoln Memorial. At least the regular season is getting ready to come to a close. Only 3 games left inside of the regular season. We're going to talk to both head coach Josh Schertz and Krystal Evans about their season so far, the top 25 rankings, the regional rankings that came out on Wednesday, as well as the push toward the South Atlantic Conference and the NCAA tournaments coming up in a few weeks. Before we get into those interviews, before we get to our first break, let us tell you about some results that's happened within the past week. Baseball has had a tough week of sorts. They went down to Melbourne, Florida this past weekend for 3 games with Florida Tech. They ended up losing all 3 of those, 7-2, 6-4, and then 9-3. They took on the Flames of Lee on Wednesday afternoon. That was also a road contest. They lost that one 8-5. They'll be at home for the first time this weekend. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in tonight's show. Elsewhere, men's lacrosse started off their 2017 campaign with a loss at Florida Tech, 20-6. Women's lacrosse started off their 2017 campaign on the road at Shorter down in Rome, Georgia. They also a loser, 12-6. Tennis, however, they were the winners this past weekend. They traveled to Brevard, North Carolina. Men won 8-1, women won 9-0. Men's golf, they were down in Jacksonville, Florida, as we talked about last week with head coach Travis Muncy. They won the spring kickoff intercollegiate, took first place in that tournament. Men's volleyball, this past Tuesday on Valentine's Day, they hosted King College into the Mary Mars Gymnasium. They lost that one in straight sets, 3-0. Men's and women's basketball, which we're going to talk about on tonight's show, they've already had 2 matchups. Last Saturday, they were over in Newberry, South Carolina. The men's were a winner, 92-85, coming back from 23 points down in the first half to come back and win that one. The women were unsuccessful. They dropped their second game of the year, 56-52. This past Wednesday, they traveled to Mars Hill, North Carolina to take on the Lions. The women won their matchup 91-63. The men was a winner, 86-51. That all just happened within the past, let's say, 4 to 5 days. We got a lot more events to talk about later on in tonight's show. Before we get to that, however, we got a couple interviews to take care of. When we come back, we're going to talk to head coach Josh Schertz of the men's basketball team right here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
Pinnacle Performance Physical Therapy wants you to know you have a choice where to receive physical and occupational therapy. We take an individualized approach to treating people of all ages. Our therapist's goal is to assist all patients by reaching their pinnacle performance in school, work, and play. We have state-of-the-art equipment such as our Alter-G anti-gravity treadmill, used to rehabilitate injuries and pain throughout the body's lower extremities. Contact us for an appointment at 423-869-9923. Pinnacle Performance Physical Therapy, 362 Catalpa Avenue, Harrogate.
Whether institutional case good or architectural woodwork, Nolan Products Incorporated of Knoxville has been serving East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, and Southeast Kentucky since 1958. From concept to finish, Nolan Products custom builds to the highest quality standards to meet your facility specifications while using only the finest materials available. Nolan Products has been serving and meeting the needs and requirements of general contractors and architects in East Tennessee and surrounding area for more than 55 years. Nolan Products Incorporated, 912 4th Side Street, Northeast, Knoxville.
Welcome back into this week's edition of the Railsplitter Athletics Report. As promised, we have returned with head coach of the men's basketball team, Josh Schertz. And Coach, we are now, hard to believe, I believe, at least for me, we're in the mid part of February. We can count how many regular season games are left on one hand, and we're looking at tournament time.
Yeah, we got 3 games left in the regular season, and it always flies by the season. So it's it's incredible we're here, but this is obviously very obviously a really key time of the regular season. And then the most important time of the season is really in very near view with March rolling around here shortly. So important that we finish the season strong, and the end of February is a great time to start playing your best basketball, start trying to peak as you get towards March.
You all through, I think, here at least in the second half of the conference schedule, I feel like you've all kind of hit that road where I don't want to say you're blowing teams out, but you're winning games decisively. There's been a few here or there. I think the Wingate game was close, but you're winning games decisively, and you're trying to put teams away so you can rest to get ready for March.
Yeah, we've played. It's been a weird year. I think we've won 21 games, 20 by double figures, and we lost 1 by double figures. And so, really, for the most part, it's been pretty big separations. Now, the Wingate game, the Newberry game, were probably closer in the final margins. Would have dictated, I think, a 10 Wingate and 7 with Newberry, but they were much closer than that in the final minutes. But regardless, you're trying to certainly play as well as you can, and hopefully if you can do that, you can buy guys some rest time. It's a season of basketball, and college basketball is very long. It's a grind. We start in August, and it generally goes at least 7 months. and that's a long time to be practicing, working out, training, all those things. And but you want to get to these games if you can, fresh legs, clear mind, and part of that is trying to rest them, at least maximize, be efficient with your practice time, and then obviously if you can get a lead, certainly be able to rest guys and give them a little less minutes and play your bench some.
You had a few conference losses earlier in the year. Newberry was at home. You lost that one, of course. They hit an insane amount of three-pointers because that's what Dave Davis and that crew does.
Yep.
You got that redemption win last weekend.
Yeah, we did. And came very difficultly.
I should say in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, it was very dramatic. We were down 23. It felt like just like we played them here December 17th, and it felt like December 17th all over again. They came out and we were down. We've never been down like that in the first half. We were down 23 at the under-8 media timeout. I think it was 37-14, and they were just kicking our butts, and we managed to kind of chop it down and get it to 7.5, and we felt pretty good. And then next thing you know, it's 14 with 11.5 to go, and you're really on the ropes. And thought our guys showed a lot of resiliency, a lot of resolve, a lot of grit, a lot of toughness to battle and stay in, and obviously made some plays there down the stretch, hit some huge shots, and more importantly, got some big stops. That's been an issue for us. We're the first 3 times we were in what you would call kind of coin flip games, close games. We weren't able to get the job done, weren't able to execute well enough, and we lost a really close one, obviously, to Carson Newman there in overtime. The Newberry game here was a tie game with 1.5 minutes to go, lost that, and then lost an overtime game to Queens. So, we'd had opportunities to close games and win some close games, weren't able to get it done. It's nice the last 2 weekends, Wingate and Newberry, that we've been in those situations and pulled through.
I want to ask you, it's kind of a twofold question. The team, when you're down by 23, they showed resilience, they didn't fold. But what's the mindset of a coach when you go to that under-8 break and you look up in the first half and you're already down 23?
No, I told them it was going to be, one of 2 things going to happen. We're either going to be down 30 or 35 at halftime, and it'll be over, or we're going to cut this thing to 15 or less, and we'll give ourselves a chance. I think you're trying to stay in the moment. You're trying to figure out always what's next. If you're up 23 or you're down 23, you're really trying to figure out, what do we have to do to this next possession, this next segment of time. Whether it's, hey, we're doing great, let's keep doing these things that we're doing, or hey, we're doing terrible, let's stop doing these things. Let's worry about doing this, and this, and see if we can get ourselves back in. And that was the mentality, was trying to get ourselves back in. It was the complete inverse situation here when we played Carson Newman. We got out to that kind of huge lead, and we were up 20-some early in the game, and next thing it was 30, 35 at halftime. And those things happen sometimes in basketball. Teams hot. We were really hot here that night. We were equally as cold at Newberry in that first 10, 12 minutes. They certainly were tremendous. I think they hit 9 of their first 13 threes. And Dave's team, really both times we played has played us as well as anybody. They've been really, really good offensively. Made a ton of shots, and that's just when you play them. You run that risk. That's why they're so dangerous. They're certainly capable of beating anybody. And sometimes when they shoot a point, they're capable of losing anybody. But there's no more dangerous team to play than them.
Wednesday night, you take care of Mars Hill over in Mars Hill. A game, I think the score blown out of proportion, but again, your team came out. First half, probably a little closer than what you were hoping for, but your team took care of the business second.
Yeah, I think we were sluggish for sure to start. We didn't come out with great energy. I thought we got really good looks offensively. We just didn't make anything in the first half. I think we were 6 for 17 at the break from 3, but really, good looks at the basket, got good shooters, open shots, just didn't go in. I thought defensively in the first half was where I was really concerned. I thought they got the rim, wasn't much help, those type of things. We didn't do a good job of being connected defensively. I thought the second half we were much more together on both ends of the floor. I thought we really guarded hard and played much harder in the second half, and the results, showed that in terms of we held them, I think, to 20-some-odd% in the second half. We really dominated the backboard second half, and I thought offensively, even though we didn't shoot it a whole lot better, we made enough shots to get separation and get a pretty comfortable win. And we were able to rest some guys, obviously, which is important.
You have, I think a lot of teams at this point of the year have a lot of wear and tear, have some injuries, have some people that are tired, and your team's no different. You're going through some adversity right now.
Yeah, we've had enough injuries for the next decade, so hopefully we're getting them all out of the way. It's been remarkable. We obviously Dorian. We missed Emmanuel for 10 games. Dorian misses 4. returns against Newberry, way ahead of schedule from a torn meniscus, steps on a guy's foot, breaks his foot, out for the season now. We're dealing with Hunter Spall, was injured, he's going to miss some time. Here with a shoulder injury, Deshaun Patterson with a high ankle sprain. We've had a lot of stuff. Chris is dealing with some aches and pains there with his hand, and so we really, it's amazing, that we've been able to kind of do what we've done and be in position to play for the stakes we're playing for, given the circumstances.
Also, something that came out Wednesday for the first time this season was the regional rankings. Now, both men's and women's team, which we'll talk to Krystal later on about her regional rankings, both of us enter the first rankings at number 2. The difference I see, though, is that you all kind of still control your own destiny because the team in front of you is in your conference, that being Queens University. You played them to an overtime game over in Charlotte. You got them coming up this Saturday, but what was your first take from the regional rankings from 1 through 10?
I think you see the strength of our league. We had 4 teams in. I think Catawba's right on the cusp of getting in, so I think you could see potentially, 5 of the top 10 being SAC schools. Shows how good the league is. Again, I think when you look at it, I think there's very little difference with us and Queens, probably in different areas. I'm sure it's close. I'm not on the committee, so I don't know, but I would assume it's close, and I'm assuming that their head-to-head over us right now is the difference, that they beat us down there in Charlotte. So, like you said, we control our own destiny in that regard. We get to play them Saturday, and certainly depending how we play there, and then obviously moving forward and finish regular season in the conference tournament gives us a chance to really try to get as high a seeding as possible. Obviously, you always want to get the 1 seed if possible, but certainly you want to be in it, and you got to be in the top 5 really to sleep comfortably going into the conference tournament, feeling like, hey, no matter what happens, we're going to be in this thing. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to certainly control what we can, play as well as we can in the stretch, and see how high a seed we can get.
Are you surprised? I know we've talked in the past couple of years how the Peach Belt's always been that, I guess, the dominant. We saw the South Atlantic last year take the top 4 in the Southeast region, or the Final 4 in the Southeast region. We've now seen Conference Carolinas kind of jump up with Limestone and Pfeiffer into the top 5. Yeah,
Limestone and Pfeiffer are in there. They've had great years. Both teams have won 20-plus games and are really kind of the class of that conference. And I think from the South Atlantic Conference standpoint, I do think historically the Peach Belt's been the league, and then we've kind of been secondary. But if you look at it, there's a great chance that the 3rd year in a row a SAC school is going to host. I think you look at the top of the region. I think that's been last 3 or 4 years we've seen a kind of a seismic shift in that, and certainly I think the South Atlantic Conference has jumped. If you look at recent history, to the best league, top to bottom, in the region, and it's shown itself in the NCAA tournament and certainly in the seedings and advancing and all those type of deals.
You've got Queens coming in here this upcoming Saturday. It's a huge game, a top 15 matchup between you and the Royals, but it's also going to be, you want to honor your seniors. So if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, it's obviously a huge game. We're playing for a lot. There's a high stakes, and that's the most important thing, but certainly get a chance to honor 4 guys. Luke on choice, one of the, if not, obviously Nick Sanford's numbers are amazing, but I don't know if there's been a better all-around player in LMU history than Luke on choice. Paul Woodson, Hunter Spall have had great careers here and have really had great 5th-year senior years, and Chris Perry, a 1-year guy that came in, has fit in tremendously. Certainly wouldn't be 21-4 without Chris coming in and being a part of our program. So 4 guys, we certainly want to send them off the right way. Hopefully fans will come out for that, and fans will come out to bring energy here, because obviously it's a really as big a regular season game as there is. So hopefully we'll get a great crowd, great energy, and our guys will come in, and we'll hopefully work together, try to see what we can do.
That sounds good, Coach. It'll be a 4 o'clock start on Saturday. Top 15 matchup, LMU taking on Queens. Coach, I want to thank you for your time, and good luck this Saturday.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.
I'll be right back with more Railsplitter Athletic Support right after this.
Make K&K Metal Sales your only stop for all your residential and commercial metal building needs. For the past 23 years, K&K Metal Sales has covered the tri-state area with quality custom roofing and siding with many grades, gauges, and colors in stock. If you're looking for complete steel or wood building packages or steel or wood trusses, K&K Metal Sales can help with that, as well as heavy-duty custom carports. Great folks and great prices. Stop by K&K Metal Sales located at 6986 Cumberland Gap Parkway or call 423-869-4261.
Welcome back into the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Back on the old set here inside of the Sigma Communications Studio, joined alongside by women's basketball coach Krystal Evans. And Coach, like I just mentioned with Coach Schertz in that last segment, it's hard to believe for us, and I imagine it is for you. We're in the middle of February. You can count the number of regular season games now on one hand, and tournament time is not around the corner. It's legitimately here.
Yes. No, we've got 3 regular season games left. We've got Queens this Saturday, then we've got Anderson Wednesday, and then we follow up with a trip to Catawba, and that finishes out the regular season play. So yes, it is here.
Last time we talked to you all, or last time we talked to you, we were talking about undefeated in the dream season. You all made it all the way to 20-0, and I've explained to people that's asked about it. It's hard to beat a team twice in the same season. The teams you're playing now have already seen you once. It's easier for them to game plan. You've had the past 3 out of the last 4 games have been very difficult for your team. 2 of those were losses. One to Wingate that the girl hits a circus shot to end up beating you all. You all end up beating Tusculum. But it's just kind of been toward the last part of the season so far. It's gotten tougher for your team.
Well, I think too, just this is the grind part of the season, and your body's tired, and you've got all these bumps and bruises, and you've got all these other like outside distractions with classes and exams and what have you. So it's just a really tough part of the season to get through. And what was amazing to me is I felt like our confidence was going down, and I would talk to the players just about how does this happen? We're winning. So you would assume that the confidence would increase, and it was like their confidence was going down the more pressure that they felt, to continue on with the streak. But and it's been that way, literally, just like you said, the last few games. But after returning from Mars Hill last night, I feel like we're definitely back on track.
Do you feel like the pressure got to the team? Because I mean, everything that was put out there in social media and everything was, this has never done before in Lady Railsplitter history. I
think it did to a point. But I don't feel like it was so much outside pressure. I feel like it was just the pressure that they were putting on themselves. I mean, obviously, once you're 10-0 and then 15-0, it got to be where we didn't want to lose, and we were making comments, and Adam, that's the first time I've ever been in that situation as well, and I've learned a lot through this process, and if I had to go back and do it all over again, I'm sure I would do a ton different. And it's funny, I was actually having a conversation with Matt Green after the Wingate loss, and I said, Matt, it's been, I'm passionate about this job, and I love it, and it's not abnormal for me to stay up all night watching film and things like that. And I was like, but I literally got to a point where I wasn't sleeping, and I feel like instead of it being a passion, it was more of an obsession. And I wasn't enjoying it and taking the time to do so like I probably should have. And we lost against Wingate, and I went home and I slept like a baby. I mean, and obviously I was upset about the loss, so it's not like I took it lightly. It just was like, okay, this is reality, and this stuff happens, and it's hard to go undefeated, and instead of being upset, I need to, maybe this is just a wake-up call. Let me slow down, and maybe I'm putting too much pressure on them, and and I just like the girls evaluate themselves after every game. I do the same, and so now I think our focus is different, and I feel like we're back on track again, like I said, after being at Mars Hill.
Some coaches maybe in basketball, but other sports, say sometimes the loss actually helps, because it kind of shows you what you can improve on, and it's really kind of a wake-up call. You went through a 3-game stretch, the loss to Wingate, you defeated Tusculum at home by 1 in a very difficult contest, and then you go on the road. Really was the back half of the doubleheader. I don't know if that really affected or not, but you ended up losing to Newberry on the road before you all went out this past Wednesday against Mars Hill. Let's be honest, you all put it on the lines, and I think it may have been the wake up that your team had. Hey, it's February, it's time to go.
I think you're correct, but we were watching a lot of film and more so just film on us, and I was just showing them clips of us scoring, and like, y'all, this is a really good team. Why don't you take a look at this team? They're amazing, and everybody can contribute. It's not just one person. It's not just a team can't come in and just focus on one person to stop on our team because we're so well rounded. And I think that kind of the light bulb kind of clicked on, like, we are really good. Why are we playing scared? Why are we playing not to lose? People have to bring their best against us because we are the best in the conference right now. And I feel like that was lost somewhere. And now, like I said, I feel like we got it back.
Last year, the goal was to get to Greenville.
Yes.
To get to the SAC semifinals. And I know from talking to you, once you all got there, you were hungry to get back. This season, as we've kind of referred to it, has been the dream season. After the Mars Hill game, you got 3 games left to go. I think the cool thing was the early play and the way the conference set out. You had 2 setbacks, but you still had a cushion there.
Yes.
So you still got a game lead. I believe it's on Wingate as the number 2 seed. You got 3 games to go. The goal of a regular season conference championship is within reach for these girls.
Yes, and that's something that we've talked about a lot. Like, it's in our hands. And so obviously if we continue to take care of business, nobody has the option of catching up to us, and so it's really ours to lose at this point. And I feel like the girls, again, and I nothing against Wingate. Nothing against Wingate. Nothing against Mars Hill. I feel like they gave us their best last night, but I just feel like it was a different energy there. The girls were focused, and the confidence was there. And I feel like if we continue to play like that, then that's something we can definitely capture.
That one's in your grasp. That one you all control the destiny to. The regional rankings came out on Wednesday. You all open up at number 2 in the regional rankings. And we've talked to Josh Schertz about the fact that they can kind of control their destiny with Queens ahead of them. You all not so much, because there's a team from outside of your conference sitting in front of you, and that's Columbus State. How do you even mention the regional rankings to the girls when you're walking through the game plans and everything, or is it something you mention to them and say, hey, we got to take care of business and hope for something to happen?
Well, it's one of those things that it's not something that we're focused on. Right now our first goal is just finishing out the regular season and being able to go ahead and capture the regular season championships, and that's really step one. Then obviously the next step it would be to win the tournament. I do feel like the bulk of what we've done this season, we're going to get a regional rank. I do feel like we'll be past the tournament, and so we will make it to the NCAA tournament. But I just feel like if we take things one step at a time, whatever's supposed to happen is going to shake out anyways. And I'm sure Columbus State, they didn't have any control on us losing, and it just happened. And so if that's in their favor, then so be it. But like I said, I just feel like if we just take care of business, what we're doing now, and move one step at a time, then if we're supposed to be second, then we'll be second. If we're supposed to be first, we'll be first.
We've got 2 more home games. Queen's coming up this Saturday. Anderson's on the following Wednesday. But we're going to host Senior Day this upcoming weekend. Talk about your seniors.
Well, we just got a great senior class this year, and all 3 of them have worked so hard, and so it's no wonder or why we're having the season that we're having, just because of those 3 individuals. But more so as players, they're just great people, and I feel like they just represent this university, not just on the court but off the court as well. And all of them have got great GPAs and just good people in the community, good role models. And I've just been very blessed to be able to coach on these past 3 years. And so Saturday is going to be emotional, but I was telling the team, like, let it be emotional because we're going to miss them and that sort of thing. But we still have a lot more that we can accomplish this year and enjoy playing with those 3 individuals and really make it special.
And of course, those 3 are Josie Harding, Megan Pittman, and Sydney Anderson.
Yes.
All right, so looking now, Saturday, you got Queens. What's the game plan, and what do you all ultimately have to do to pull out the victory? Well,
I just feel like, again, we came out against Mars Hill attacking, and the confidence was there. We were pushing the ball, and that fueled us again on defense. And most teams their defense fuels their offense, and I would love that. I would love to say that our team is like that, but that's a lie. We're not. For whatever reason, we're reverse. Our offense really jumpstarts our defense, and so it's just, whenever we score, it gives us that extra pep in the step, and we're more aggressive on defense, and I hate that it's like that, but like I said, I'm trying to change it. It's just been hard this season to change it, and I've just noticed if we can get our offense going, our defense is right there, and we get more aggressive on the defensive end. And so I just really feel like if we can come out looking to attack on offense, then it'll be a smooth game and we'll be all right.
All right, Coach, good luck this weekend against Queens.
Thank you.
That game tips off at 2 o'clock. We'll be right back after this with more Railsplitter Athletics Report.
If you enjoy lakes, boating, mountains, and great food, you'll love Norris Landing Marina in Claiborne County, Tennessee. Located off Lone Mountain Road, Norris Landing Marina has these benefits for you. A 170-slip marina with seasonal rental slips, rental pontoon and pleasure boats, vacation cabins and cottages, a 23-space RV park, and Jimmy's Place Restaurant. Great food and casual dining in an on-the-water setting. Contact us and make the Norris Landing Marina your enjoyment destination.
Juggling my family schedule is a full-time job. Between school, dance practice, work, there's little time left to worry about much else. That's why I use real-time banking from Home Federal Bank. With real-time banking, I know that when I make a deposit, the money goes straight to my account. No delays, no waiting, no wondering. And I get to focus on what's important.
Real-time deposits, real-time access, real-time banking. From Home Federal Bank, always within reach.
Welcome back as we finish off this week's edition of the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Again, want to thank our guests, Josh Schertz and Krystal Evans, for stopping by with us and talking about their season so far. Let's tell you about some events that's coming up mostly on the weekend, a few of them into later on in the week. Softball, they're out in Arizona, if you can believe it or not. They're out there for the Cactus Classic. They have 4 matchups. They'll be taking on Academy of Art, West Texas A&M, which is actually a top 5 team in the nation. They'll take on Fort Lewis and the University of Mary out there in the Cactus Classic. Good luck to Coach Natalie Layden and her squad. Men's volleyball, they'll be at home this Friday taking on St. Andrews. That game will be covered by the LMU Sports Network. First serve for that one is scheduled for 7 p.m. Rusty Peace will have the call for that one. Again, that's Friday night inside of the Mary Mars Gymnasium. Women's bowling, they're up in the windy city of Chicago, Illinois, taking at the Crusader Classic. Men's tennis on Saturday will be up in Richmond, Kentucky, I should say, up at Eastern Kentucky University. Men's lacrosse, they start off their home schedule this upcoming Saturday. They'll be playing host to Alabama Huntsville. You can keep up with that one on LMURailsplitters.com. Baseball will also be at home this weekend. Saturday, 2 games Saturday, 1 game Sunday, a 3-game set with Ohio Valley. That once again will be covered by LMURailsplitters.com. And that leaves women's and men's basketball, which we've already talked about. Women's basketball, number 11 in the top 25 this week. They're at home this weekend, taking on Queens University. It's senior day. The last home game will actually be on Wednesday. They take on the Trojans of Anderson. That'll be a big contest in relation to the South Atlantic Conference standings. For the men, they're ranked 15th in the nation. Their big game is Saturday. They take on number 10 Queens. With the win, Josh Schertz will tie, or the LMU, Josh Schertz and LMU, I should say, will tie Queens University for first place in the conference standings with a chance to take over the number 1 seed in the upcoming South Atlantic Conference tournament. If and when they get past Queens, on Wednesday they'll also have Anderson inside of the Tex Turner Arena. Again, start times for Saturday is 2 and 4 o'clock, women at 2, men at 4, and on Wednesday it'll be 6 and 8 with the women starting that one as well. Both those games will be covered by the LMU Sports Network. Again, for anything else, athletics-wise, for Railsplitter Athletics, go to LMURailsplitters.com because I'm sure I've missed one thing or another, and you can go there for everything you need to know about LMU Athletics. Until next week, I'm Adam Haley. You've been watching the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
And now to Arian, and he busts that one.